This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station. MNC. On News Talk 95.3, 101.9 FM, and 1340 AM, your MNC Nation station.
Good morning. Welcome to Friday. It is October the 4th, 2024. I'm John Sibney in the MNC News Center, and the news continues now with our top local stories. A 22-year-old man's been found guilty of murder for the death of another man nearly 4 years ago in South Bend.
Amari Lenoir was charged in connection with the November 2020 shooting death of 47-year-old Dorian Harris on Queen Street. According to court documents, an argument between Lenoir and Harris ended with gunshots. Lenoir first claimed to be in Texas at the time of the shooting, but detectives learned that he departed for Texas days after the shooting. Multiple witnesses also identified Lenoir as the shooter. Victor Garcia, MNC News.
An Illinois man has pleaded guilty after allegedly fleeing police and crashing into a Niles restaurant.
The incident happened on September 24th when 24-year-old Jaquan Chestnut was reportedly driving at high speeds. An officer attempted to pull him over, but Chestnut allegedly fled, leading the officer on a brief pursuit before losing control of the vehicle and crashing into Sailor's Pizza in Niles. According to Leader Publications, Chestnut pleaded guilty to third-degree fleeing and eluding police and resisting and obstructing police. His sentencing is set for December 30th. Alyssa Foster, MNC News.
There's good news from INDOT crews working in LaPorte County. Lane closures on I-94 east of the US 2035 interchange are finished ahead of schedule. This was the bridge deck overlay project on Warnke Road over the interstate. INDOT officials say a combination of good weather and long work hours allowed the crews working on that project to wrap it up more than a month ahead of schedule. Indiana Task Force 1 is helping with the cleanup from Hurricane Helene in North Carolina. Task Force 1 leader Jay Settergren says both he and the team are blown away by what they've seen.
Unbelievable the amount of damage. You know, houses completely gone. They're not even anywhere near the foundation. So a lot of damage, cars, mudslides, trees, everything you can think of.
He says the work they're doing is very physical and very draining, but it's also very rewarding, especially when they bring back people who are missing to their families. New this morning on MNC, U.S. authorities charging 5 Chinese nationals for lying and attempting to cover up their actions after being found near a Michigan military site in 2023.
The 5 were University of Michigan students at the time, but are accused of misleading investigators and deleting photos from their phones, not for their presence at Camp Grayling. The FBI noted similar past incidents involving Chinese students taking photos of U.S. defense sites. All 5 graduated from the University of Michigan last spring. They have not yet been arrested. Morgan Hopkins, MNC News.
And ADAC has announced the start of pumpkin bowling season.
For a $2 donation, you can pumpkin bowl until your pumpkin meets its match at Linton's Enchanted Gardens all month long. It's fun and it raises money for ADAC, which advocates for and serves people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, helping them to live lives full of informed choice and possibility. So head over to Linton's and see if you can bowl a strike with a pumpkin for a great local cause. Tommy Lee, MNC News.
Well, things got a bit fiery during last night's Indiana Gubernatorial Debate with Republican Mike Braun, Democrat Jennifer McCormick, and Libertarian Donald Rainwater. One of those moments happened when Braun questioned McCormick's success as a former superintendent of public instruction.
If you were in charge there for 4 years and results never got any better, I think you got to be held accountable when that's the one thing you did in state government.
As state superintendent, I don't set policy. I implement. I wasn't the one responsible to change the state law to make us keep changing standards and keep changing assessment.
Both Braun and Rainwater support expanding vouchers, while McCormick disagreed. On other topics, all 3 supported cutting property taxes, but they differed on exactly how to do that. On the topic of abortion, Braun supports keeping Indiana's near-total abortion ban. McCormick says she would push to enact the Roe v. Wade standard. Rainwater said he'd support whatever lawmakers enact. He also said this.
When Dr. McCormick makes it sound like all men are evil and that only women should speak on this issue, I do trust women as well, and there are many women who tell me that they're pro-life.
I never said that. I would never make that accusation, ever. But what I will say is I trust women. And when I trust women, if that equates to the people on this stage that I said that men are horrible people, that should tell you something.
Regarding marijuana use, all 3 candidates support allowing medicinal use. McCormick and Rainwater support allowing recreational recreational use as well. There's one more gubernatorial debate that will take place this month. It is set for October 24th, and you'll be able to hear that debate right here on 95.3 MNC. The search continues in Elkhart County for the driver at the center of a hit-and-run collision that injured a bicyclist.
It happened around 7:30 Wednesday morning at the intersection of County Road 10 and County Road 8 and left a 19-year-old woman from Coloma, Michigan with injuries. Investigators say a Chevrolet sedan was traveling westbound on County Road 10. The driver, described as a male in his 20s or 30s, struck the woman who was riding her bicycle against traffic in the eastbound lanes. The bicyclist sustained a fracture to her hand and a dislocated finger and was treated at Memorial Hospital in South Bend. The driver fled the scene, leaving behind damage to the vehicle's passenger side mirror. Police are urging anyone with information to come forward. Derek Decker, MNC News.
A four-vehicle crash at the intersection of County Roads 19 and 14 left two people injured and a driver in custody for operating while intoxicated. The crash happened around 1:30 yesterday afternoon when police say 22-year-old Brian Gafarius of Elkhart was driving a GMC Terrain and rear-ended a Jeep Grand Cherokee. The Jeep hit a Subaru Accent, which then collided with a Chevrolet HHR. Garfias, who police say was intoxicated, fled on foot but was later arrested. The driver of the Chevy HHR has also fled, headed westbound. Well, one driver was hurt after a two-vehicle collision took place at US 33 and County Road 113.
The collision Thursday afternoon involved a GMC Sierra driven by 39-year-old Bradley Ragland of Elkhart and a Nissan Altima driven by a 50-year-old Elkhart man. Investigators say Ragland was traveling southeast on 33, turning south onto 113 when his vehicle crossed the center line and hit the other vehicle, which had been stopped at the intersection. The driver of the car that was hit complained of neck, back, and leg pain and was taken to Elkhart General Hospital. Ragland, who wasn't hurt, was cited for driving left of center and driving with a suspended license. Victor Garcia, MNC News.
Now, watching the economy, three Hoosier cities with many similarities are concerned about their economic future.
Kokomo, Fort Wayne, and Columbus are having a tough time with unemployment numbers. U.S. government data shows that between 2014 and 19, Kokomo's unemployment rate rose nearly 80%. As of July of 2024, Fort Wayne has the highest unemployment rate in the state, and Columbus isn't far behind. Ryan Hedrick, Network Indiana.
Indiana DNR officers have been sent to Western North Carolina to help with search and rescue efforts in flooded areas. The team of 8 officers and Indiana firefighters arrived yesterday and are working in places that are hard to reach because of underwater roads and bridges. The mission is expected to last up to 2 weeks. And George Soros' bid to have his purchase of hundreds of radio stations across the country has been fast-tracked by Congress. 3rd District Congressman Jim Banks says,
so it's dangerous that George Soros could go out and buy 200 conservative talk radio stations. It was a split decision, I think 3-2, with the Democrat members voting for this sale and the Republican appointments voting against it.
95.3 MNC is not owned by bankrupt broadcaster Odyssey, which Soros is buying, and Banks says he wants to try and overturn the decision if he's elected to the Senate. Cast your vote with confidence this fall. Check out the candidates and their platforms. Jim Banks included in all the hot races before the November election at the all-new HoosierVote.com. Brought to you by Shield Exteriors and Burton's Laundry.
Podcasts by Federated Media.